Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of Inside Guns with your host, me, the Yankee Marshal. Today, I want to keep it a little light. Even though we are in the aftermath of a great American tragedy, I don't want to go off today. I don't want to do a 20-minute angry rant like I did yesterday. So for my own mental health and the mental health of my viewers, at least some of them, I want to not focus on that right now. Like I said, keep it a little light. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to answer a question that I get quite often in multiple different forms. That question is a simple one. When you're carrying a gun, how much is too much? Now, that is a simple question, but it's also a complicated question because it has a complicated answer. Whenever you're talking about carrying a firearm and you're talking about how much is too much, you're usually talking about one of two things. You're either talking about caliber or the number of guns you're carrying. Are you carrying like a 500 Magnum? Or are you carrying 10 guns on you? You know, those are the things that make some people go, is this person crazy? Are they paranoid? Should they seek help? Or is what they're doing okay? What's too much and what isn't too much? Well, there is no set standard of how much is too much. But there's things to think about. Now, when it comes to caliber, you might look at someone carrying a Desert Eagle, you know, a 50 AE or a 500 Magnum or even a 44 Magnum and say, well, that's completely unjustified. Last time I checked, there's no polar bears on your way to the bus stop every day to go to work. So why are you carrying that high caliber gun? And that might make them seem crazy. And you might say they're paranoid. And are they? Well, they could be. There's crazy people everywhere. But if you actually talk to them, maybe it doesn't seem so crazy. If you said, hey, why are you carrying that higher caliber gun? And they said, well, you know, one of the things I've been paying attention to in the world lately is that people are weaponizing cars more and more. And they're very effective, very deadly weapons. And if I'm ever in a position where I have to defend myself or someone else against someone driving a vehicle, and they're usually behind glass, pretty sturdy glass usually, or doors, I want something that will penetrate that glass, penetrate that door, and still take out the bad guy. Possibly even crack an engine block if I have to. You know, I want that biggest, most powerful round I can have because of that. Also, they might say, I've noticed that a lot of people are carrying or wearing body armor these days. It's not really true, but they might think that from what the news tells them. And they might say, hey, if I'm ever in a place and an active shooter, you know, a bad guy comes in and he's wearing soft body armor, my 44 Magnum will penetrate that armor. And if he's wearing hard body armor, my 500 Magnum will still shatter his ribs and his sternum, even if he's wearing body armor. So I still got a chance simply because I'm carrying a bigger caliber gun. So when they say that, it doesn't seem crazy anymore. It makes a lot of sense. So you maybe shouldn't have been so judgmental about what they're carrying or why they're carrying it. Now, when it comes to number of guns, it's often the same thing. People will see someone carrying 2 or 3 guns and they'll be like, well, do you live in a bad neighborhood? Are you a member of a drug cartel? Are you planning on having to arm 10 other people today to fight off, you know, I don't know, herds of tigers and lions and bears? You know, why are you carrying so many guns? Well, maybe they have reasons. Maybe if you sit down and listen to them, maybe they're like, oh, well, I've got a gun on my ankle, a gun on my hip, and a backup gun under my arm. And they might tell you, well, it's because I work every day with large amounts of money and I'm in different positions every day. I'm randomly going from inside my car, outside my car, sitting somewhere indoors, maybe at a table. And because of that, I need guns that are accessible during my day from different positions. If I'm driving in my car, I can access my shoulder holster. I can also access my ankle holster. So that's what I have those for, or either or both. And while I'm standing, walking around, I can access my primary gun on my hip. If I'm sitting at a table in a business, I can't get my ankle holster or my hip gun, but I can still get to my shoulder holster. And since people know I'm carrying around large amounts of cash or important items or something every day, or just a wallet full of cash, I want to be prepared in all these different positions that I'm in regularly during the day. I'm in my car a lot, I'm in businesses a lot, I'm in restaurants, etc. all day long, and I'm a target, so I want to have guns accessible from different angles. That doesn't sound as crazy. That doesn't sound paranoid. Now, if they work as a cashier at Burger King, that might not work quite as much. But because of their circumstances, carrying multiple guns doesn't seem crazy. I don't think carrying 2 guns, ever seems crazy, because 2 is 1 in a lot of situations. If things go bad, something malfunctions, especially if you carry a revolver, 1 will probably do it. But if you carry a semi-auto, yeah, magazines go bad, all kinds of other things. So 2 is 1. So no one really says much about 2. When you get into 3 or more, people start to worry when you're carrying. So, like I said, though, but because of circumstance, it can seem not so crazy at all. But let's look at reasons now that would make what you're carrying actually too much. Would actually make you look crazy. And that is, you should never carry a gun so big or carry so many guns that it drastically affects your life. Your lifestyle is reduced. Your quality of life is reduced. You're like, oh, I carry these big guns. I carry this big heavy gun and it just gives me such a backache. And oh, I can't even go in most places because I can't conceal it. It's just too hard to conceal, or, whatever. Well, that's ruining your life over a small chance that you might need to shoot an engine block or a grizzly bear in the middle of, town. Which, if you see a grizzly in the middle of town, leave him alone. He'll probably leave you alone. Just don't start trouble with bears and you'll probably be okay. But if it's interfering with your life, like you can't, I couldn't go to my kid's recital today because my gun's too big, and if they saw it and they're going to see it, they're going to kick me out. Well, then you're carrying too much gun. Right there. That's just the reality of it. Carry something smaller that day. If you're carrying so many guns that you're like, okay, I'm fine as long as I walk a certain way, I won't jingle and clank. I can't bend my arms much. I can't bend at the waist. I can only bend at the knees, but only a certain amount. So it makes it hard for me to get in cars or sit down in public. I definitely can't bend over in public or things will start falling out. Well, then you're carrying too many guns. And then you might want to get help. So as you can see, there are instances where you can carry too much gun or too many guns. If it's interfering in your everyday life, it's reducing your quality of life, if you're taking extreme measures to be prepared for something that is not likely to happen at all, it's infinitesimal, the chance of it happening. Infinitesimal. I think that's a word. Then you're probably going too far. If it makes you miserable, uncomfortable, makes you not be able to do things you want to do, you're going too far with it. Because you have to balance your life with being prepared. No one can be prepared for everything. You can't walk around in a titanium cage in case meteors come down or tigers come at you. You can't do that. It would just make your life miserable. Same thing with guns. Don't go too far to where your everyday life is restricted or reduced beyond a level you're comfortable with. Now, if you're someone who never leaves your house and doesn't care about any of those things, do whatever you want to do. But like I said, if you want to be able to go to your kid's recital, you want to be able to go to the library, you want to be able to walk around in town, you want to be able to be comfortable, then make appropriate decisions with what you carry, how big it is, and how many things you carry. I've seen some people do EDC videos where it's like, if I had to carry that around every day, I would just shoot myself. But I guess it's okay for them. But me, I carry a lot less because I could carry more. Of course I could carry more. I don't carry much at all. But I believe it makes me prepared for 99.5% of the things that could possibly ever happen to me without actually reducing the quality of my life. So that's all you got to understand when it comes to how much is too much. As long as it's not hurting your lifestyle, reducing your quality of life, anything like that, you do you. But if you do get to the point where you're doing stuff that ruins your life just because you think you need to carry a bigger gun or more guns, then maybe you should seek a little help, because maybe a little psychological counseling would help. But otherwise, like I said, you do what you want to do. Just don't take it to too much of an extreme. All right, everybody, that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I do appreciate you coming, and I hope you come back again tomorrow. Until then, I want to remind everyone to always carry, no matter how big it is or how many of them there are, as long as you're comfortable. And stay safe until I see you again.